Okay, I'm gonna then, since we spoke about it, let's get to the rock star, which is Shekhar Malhotra. Sometimes I mistook and I was like Shekhar, and I'm like, no, Deepak, because he was so
True.
good in that role. All right.
To
Okay, I think our. Okay, I need to probably play it. Sorry, one sec. So let me just play it, and
Oh, this is Sarak now. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
this is
This is
Sarak, and I
Kiladi.
think yeah,
That's
I just
Kiladi.
jumped to. It's gonna come to
Kiladi?
JEETA.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
Killer now,
Kiladi with
now
the
JEETA.
iconic
Oh,
hair.
oh my
Yes,
god. Oh my god. This is
JEETA,
cool.
Shekhar
I love this.
Malhotra. Yeah.
शेखर मल्होत्रा इंटर कॉलेज
Aha.
चैंपियन जेके मल्होत्रा का बेटा है वो मल्होत्रा सीनियर्स वाले यस यस डियर
यार
My
कोई खास
favorite.
लड़की नजर नहीं आ रही
यार दीदी निशा भी नजर नहीं आ रही आज क्या किया था लास्ट टाइम
कुछ नहीं यार हल्की फुल्की पप्पी और गुड नाइट
हल्की फुल्की अबे तेरी हल्की फुल्की पप्पी पप्पा के बराबर होती है जानता हूँ
यार वो लड़की कौन है
सेक्सी लगता है
This is
कॉलेज
so
में नई
Greece.
आई है
I know.
Yes, 100%.
वो बाजू में क्वींस
That one's so cool.
हर बात में डियर बोलती है
हर बात पे dear बोलते हैं.
Yeah.
Were you actually chewing gum in this
Yeah,
film
yeah, I
as
was,
well?
I was,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
अबे लाइन दे रही है अबे लाइन दे रही है wait get lost you guys अरे गया ये
My god, this is so Nagarali T-Birds.
I know.
हाय रुखसाना
हाय डियर तुम मुझे जानते हो
ऑफ कोर्स तुम्हें कौन नहीं जानता कम ऑन
हाउ स्वीट डियर बाय द वे शी इज देविका
हाय देविका शेखर मल्होत्रा
हाय
And everybody's jealous.
My
And there's a second
god.
scene.
Okay.
We're gonna see your attitude with the
Whoa.
Rajput boys.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought this acting scene was
Yeah.
the Americana Oh, the music too. The OC.
Ooh, yeah,
the
yeah.
background.
Announces immediately.
Whoa.
You're quick.
Yeah. I'll tell you the story on that.
Yeah.
ये क्या बदतमीजी है
अच्छा तो तुम जाके इसकी भी कंप्लेन कर दोगे
देखो इन बातों के लिए वक्त नहीं है यहाँ हमारी ट्रेनिंग चल रही है
ओह किसकी ट्रेनिंग इनकी यही है तुम्हारे चैंपियन
और ये देख पहलवान पजामा छाप
देखो पौंची गुस्सा करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है जहां तक साइकिल रेस का सवाल है मैं यहाँ का चैंपियन हूं यहाँ का कोई भी लोकल लौंडा मुझे नहीं हरा सकता समझे और हाँ इस साल भी ये रेस मैं ही जीतूंगा और इन सब साले हरामजादों का मुंह काला करके जाऊंगा
हरामजादे तू तेरे सारा खानदान कमीने कुत्ते संजू मैं तेरा मुंह तोड़ दूंगा संजू छोड़ के खड़ा पानी में संजू मैं तेरा मुंह तोड़ दूंगा संजू क्यों इनके मुंह लगते हो
अबे फाइटर बाप क्या बोल रहा है सुन ले वरना बहुत मार खाएगा तू कम ऑन
All right. I thought that scene. I was telling Sushant at the time, like just the he's Shekhar Malhotra in some ways is supposed to be the antagonist, but I think there is such a naturalness to it. Like you're like, he is J.K. Malhotra's son. He's got that attitude. How did you like with the senior actor like Kurbhajan Kurbanda? Like how did you bring that part? Because the energy is oozing, that confidence is oozing from the screen. But
See, I'll tell you about how I got this. I'll come to that later.
Yeah.
But when I was doing Shekhar Malhotra, of course, that was not me. So I had to perform because I'm just the opposite of Shekhar. So in real life. So
Yeah.
obviously, but because being an actor, I got
Yeah.
that part, and it was really honorable for me because I managed to crack that.
Yeah.
So when I started doing it,
Yeah.
there was a little situation I was facing constantly as an actor,
Okay.
because we've been, obviously we've been born and brought up with Bollywood, watching Hindi
Yeah.
movies, and
Yeah.
we have
Right.
heroes and
Right.
we have villains, and they have been villains
Yeah.
like in every film. So you
Yeah.
watched all these big dudes like Pran
Yeah.
Saab and Jeevan, and then
Right. Right.
Gulshan
Ranjit.
Grover
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
to, yeah,
Gulshan
Ranjit and
Grover.
Gulshan
Yeah.
Grover. So
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
whole image of playing a
Yeah.
villain is what exactly I wanted to break. That I did not want to
Mm.
Yes.
take it ahead, and I did not want
Right.
to make everybody feel that villain has to be like behaving like this and behaving and
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
like this. So I really
Right.
wanted to do, and so did Mansoor. Fortunately, he also
Yeah.
comes from the same school, so he also wanted me to be natural, and that was like
Right.
perfect for me. But there was a very thin line, because I
Yes.
realized when I was performing, because a little small note, if I go a
Yeah.
little up, I could be a Gulshan Grover
Mm.
so easily.
Yeah. The sur. Yeah. 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 It has
I
to be
could
pitch
I
perfect.
was
just be
Yeah.
that. Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was gonna say, I noticed. I mean, even in this scene alone, you're very still the
yeah.
entire time. You're very
So
still. Your eyes are
yeah,
very unwavering. You know.
yeah. So
But the
I know
voice
I
is yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I
Go
had
ahead.
to.
Sorry.
I had to, consciously keep that in mind. And fortunately,
Yeah.
it kind of just flew, and this everything
Mm.
was just kind of going in the right direction for me, because
Yeah.
the scenes that were coming every second day, they were all just, I managed to, keep that
Right.
tone and manage the
Yeah.
natural part of it. And I wanted everybody who is kind of
Yeah.
watching it also to feel that this guy Shekhar Malhotra is real. There are
Yeah.
guys like that. There are
Yes.
no there are villains in life, but they are little, we always show villains a little over the top. And
Right.
I felt that this was an opportunity where I wanted even the kids who are a little arrogant in life and who are a little
Yeah.
boisterous and a little spoiled, being rich kids, they should
Yeah.
identify with me. They should not be
With
feeling
me.
I
Yeah.
was a little OTT.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
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 exactly precisely what really I was a little scared when we were when finished the film and we were watching
Yeah.
it. The first ever screening and the premiere that we did in Delhi, and Delhi
Yeah.
is a place which is full of all these
Yeah.
arrogant kids and
Yeah. Yeah.
lot of Shekhar
Right.
Malhotras. Okay,
Right. Right.
Right.
so
Right.
Right.
Of
Right.
course.
so they are born and brought up Shekhar Malhotras there.
Yeah.
So so
Right.
and Aamir and all of us were watching in Delhi first screening.
Yeah.
And trust me, the reactions were scary, because they used to love it when Aamir was
Yeah.
losing and Shekhar Malhotra was winning. So they were actually in the
Oh.
theater, they were cheering for
Wow.
Like
Shekhar
rooting for.
Malhotra, and it was a scary situation because that's not supposed to happen. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was only in that city, because that's
Yeah.
how. So we were convinced for a fact that okay,
Yeah.
Shekhar Malhotra works, and then slowly and gradually, it kind of went,
Yeah.
and it sucked everybody inside, and everybody felt that yes, it's a correct Sanjay Lal, and it's a correct Shekhar Malhotra,
Yeah.
and it was absolutely crazy. But now let me
Yeah.
tell you that this Shekhar Malhotra is a
Yeah. Yeah.
story by itself. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
Yeah.
so Shekhar Malhotra never happened to me with a lot of hard work that I put in when I went for auditions. I went for
Okay.
Okay.
auditions, Sushant, for you to realize when
Yes.
I said something
Yeah.
earlier. So this is how
Yeah.
it
Yes.
all comes back.
Right.
So
Okay.
Okay.
I auditioned for
Yeah.
JEETA, and I wasn't selected amongst the so many thousands of kids who were
Wow.
auditioning. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't selected. And later on, I started living my life, and I went on
Yeah.
to Ashiki and Sadak and stuff like that, and I
Right.
started doing, and things were working for me. Ashiki
Yeah.
worked,
Yeah.
Sadak worked,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And Jojita, they had started shooting with another actor altogether.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
they had started shooting. They went on to shoot, and they shot for almost a year and a half. In those days, we used to do not one shot shooting. They used to do
Yeah.
10 days
Right.
now, 5 days, another 2 months later, 3 months later, another 15 days, like that. So
Sure.
at that point, when the film started, I had given up hope completely because I knew that now the film
course.
started and they have cast somebody and they're already on the location and they're shooting.
Yeah.
And suddenly, of course, I then after in that period of time, I was doing my work as an actor in other films, and
Right.
I was getting information because you get information of what's happening on that set, what's happening
Right.
on
Yeah.
that field, what's happening over there. So there was this buzz which was
Right.
going around that things are not very hunky dory on the sets. But I really didn't pay too much of attention to it. And so suddenly,
Yeah.
after almost a year and a half, and 75% of the film was done. Okay.
Wow.
And
Wow.
suddenly it was all frozen. There was no noise about Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. And we and Bhatt Saab was shooting in Uti for a film
Right.
called Dile Ke Manta Nahi with Aamir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, in that
Yeah.
time. And Jo Jeeta was frozen, and Aamir was there in Dile Ke Manta Nahi, and they were all together. And suddenly, for 2 days, Bhatt Saab came down to Bombay, and he says, "Come over. I have something to talk to you." So generally, Bhatt Saab's house was like a pad for us. We used to hang around there.
Right.
Nice.
we used to be like his pets. वहीं पे खाना वहीं पे ये करना सिर्फ सोने के लिए घर जाते थे. And I remember his wife Sony used to like, okay, so he's here now. Where's the other guy? Now where's the other guy? So they're all going to come. So it was all going to be like. So he called me in the night and he says, so you come over. I'm going to go back in 2 days, so I need you to meet me tonight. I said, okay.
Right.
So I reached
Yeah.
home, and then he kind of throws a kind of bomb on me that you need to meet Mansoor Khan tomorrow.
Oh wow.
So I said, why? I said, what's up? What is the reason? So he says, well, this is for Jo Jeeta. And Aamir spoke to me, and Aamir said that, he's recommended you and he needs you to go.
Nice.
He needs you to
Right.
go to Mansoor. So I was now, actually, how kids are. So I was one of those kids. I was a little arrogant now suddenly. I felt,
Rejected me
yeah,
first
because I was rejected. So I was like, I said, but sab, aapko malum nahi hai, this guy, he never even called me to tell me that I'm not selected. I mean, they just leave it. You give an audition and they don't even. I said, just shut up. I don't want to listen to anything. You just go and do it. I know what's good for you. You just go and meet him.
Wow.
So that is how, actually, when I met him and, I realized what Mansoor really wanted and what he was not getting on the screen. And he really felt that, I need to do this. Otherwise, it's going to be big trouble. But I also got an opportunity at that time. Listen, the living legend that time was Nasir Hussain Saab. For us, Nasir Hussain is the actual Mansoor's dad, So he's Sushant might not know, but Nasir Hussain Saab is one of the biggest ever producer of Hindi films, commercial cinema in those days. And for us, he was like, oh my God, it's like, you're in Spielberg's office. It was like that. Okay. So I went to, when I met Mansoor, I met Nasir Saab, and Nasir Saab's word was that, beta, तुम्हें ये करना है. So I said, sir, आपने बोल दिया, Bhatt Saab ने बोल दिया, मैंने करना है. So then obviously, then that's how it was. It was like with so much around me, I finally went on to the first day to perform and to be on the sets of Jo Jeeta. And that is how Jo Jeeta was a complete miracle. The way I was feeling it, that it was not really just run-of-the-mill film, because it was very ahead of its time, and the kind of the things that he was bringing in, the culture that he was showing, although that culture was seeping into those those boarding schools and stuff like that. But we were not we were just living our normal school life, and we were not boarders, so we did not really know that lifestyle. And actually, I learned about that lifestyle while doing Jo Jeeta, because I never had friends also who were boarders, So
I was going to
it
ask
was,
you.
it was a completely new. It's like a revelation to me that, this is what happens. Oh yeah, this is what happens. So that is exactly how things happened. And for that reason, I think that a lot of nuances that I brought into Shekhar Malhotra. For example, in a fight between me and Mamik, which happens, I kind of throw him off the hill. I push him off the hill. In that particular situation, it was kind of very alarming for me to even learn that process, because what happens is one evening before, Mansoor calls me and Aamir in his hotel room, and he says, "You guys come over to the room. We'll discuss something that I want to do tomorrow." So Aamir and me, we both go in the evening, and it's very quiet. He's like, okay, so tomorrow we're going to do the fight between Shekhar and Ratan.
Okay.
So he says, technically, Aamir, what do you think should happen? So Aamir says, he's a villain, so he's got to get beaten up. So then he looks at me and he says, what do you think, Deepak? So I said, Mansoor, I'm a little technical, maybe it might not be sounding right, but I feel that if I'm the villain and if I am in the pre-climax fighting Ratan, and if Ratan beats me here, then there is no climax.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So
True.
it's everybody knows Sanjay is going to beat me, right?
Yeah.
Sanjay
Yes,
Lal is going to
of
beat
course.
me. So he looks at me, looks at Aamir, he says, okay, this makes sense. So he says, okay, guys, split. So Aamir says, but what have you decided? So he says, Aamir,
Right.
you should actually stick to doing films like Dil and all. So let's not talk about it. Because see they are brothers, they are brothers. So they can talk like that. For me, it wasn't. But although Aamir was my junior, so I was comfortable with him, because he was more like, okay, he was my junior in college. So I was not really kind of in a situation where I'm working with Aamir Khan. But so in the sense, but that's why I could easily absorb it, and so did Aamir had to absorb it, because Mansoor is an elder brother.
Yeah.
So eventually he has the right, because after all, so it was like funny. But that is how in that moment, in that fight, if you remember, that there was this moment when Ratan falls down, I actually reach out to him.
Yeah,
I
and he said,
try
"Oh
and
shit!"
reach out to
Yeah,
him. Oh shit!
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, so that was not part of the script. And when I did that, instantly, actually the action director did not have any idea that I was going to do it. So he immediately called for a cut, and he says, "Cut!" And he started freaking. He says, "Deepak, क्या कर रहा है तू यार? ये तू क्या कर रहा है?" So I looked at Mansoor. I said, listen, dude, I just felt that this is a natural instinct for a schoolboy. For a guy who sees that, I'm pushed him by mistake, all animosity and everything on one side, but that's what I felt. So Mansoor looks at the action guy and he says, he's right. Yes, we do one more take, and Deepak, do it. I need you to do this. And so he kept it. So that is why I said that, the advantage of trying to bring in your own nuances and your own texture to your character, what really made Shekhar Malhotra, a Shekhar Malhotra that he became.
Yeah.
And that is why I thank support from Mansoor a lot, because he actually understood where I was coming from, and of course Aamir also, because he was also playing the lead, and he was also constantly interacting with me, so he would see which path am I going, because he's an intelligent actor. Eventually he comes from the family of school of the whole thing, acting thing. So from the time he was 4 years old, he was acting. So, he knows what's editing, what's cinema. So I always respected that. So both of them were looking at it, and they kind of, agreed on whatever I was bringing into Shekhar Malhotra. Not knowing that, that eventually the end game was going to be like, okay, he's going to stand out as much as he did. And thank God for that. Thank God for that.
Of course. To me, it's I obviously, like, in the naturalistic performance itself, Shekhar Malhotra is immediately human, like, rather than, say, over the top, for example. But in that moment with Ratan, it's where, to me, he became sympathetic as well, where it's like, yes, you want him to lose because of everything, but there's that element of gray to it that I think is added in that moment.
Exactly. You rightly said that there is to be a gray. It cannot be white and black. And that gray path, walking on the gray path, Rima, was very difficult. But somehow, I think, I was fortunate that all the forces and everybody around me also, kind of were in support and sync with it.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
I was gonna say, because I had this in my notes actually, which is so funny that you said it. I said that one of the things about the character, and you know, you maybe envisioned it, but even now, so many years later, it felt so authentic. And I said that even if you're supposed to hate Shekhar, you actually get him. It makes sense why he's like that. So there's an empathy for a character that could easily become a villain, but it comes through to us and you sympathize with him because this is like a real person in the real world. So I love that you
Exactly.
actually intended that and that came through on screen. And I feel
Exactly.
like the fact that you had that, I mean, I would call it creative genius to be like, no, he we need to have him like Manik lose, or you know, Ratan kind of
Yeah.
lose, because the crux of that emotion, when you see like, come on Sanju, in the end, you're like,
Yeah.
all that
Yes.
emotion, like
Yeah.
change the gear, like
Yeah.
that wouldn't come through if you didn't
Yes.
feel that sympathy, that oh,
Exactly.
दो
Yeah.
दिन
Yeah.
बाकी है, मैं नहीं कर सकता, you know, शेखर
Right.
की
Decide.
जीत तो खोखली रहेगी ना, and all that
Yes.
wouldn't happen if,
Yes.
wow,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
Good. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
No, what a performance. I mean, I was gonna ask you, by the way, a fun question, maybe a trivia, because you were
Sure.
also having a group of posse, your friends. You had Prakash Ramchandani, Bobby
Yes.
Khanna, and Suraj Thapar, which is funny,
Yes.
Thapar ka beta, because that was
Yeah.
the thing that
Yes.
Thapar
Yeah.
ka beta for Aamir.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
did you become friends with them?
Yes, I was very close to them. We got very close because, you know, eventually when you're shooting and you are like a clan, so almost
Yeah.
like, you know, I have loved Greece, you know, the
Yeah,
T-birds
yeah,
and
yeah.
pink ladies. So when
Right, right, right.
so you know, when I was getting this, I said, this is like T-birds, guys, come on, let's put in everything. So
Yeah.
Right.
so you know, the chemistry between all four of us was wonderful. They all, I mean, we a couple, most of them, I mean, three of them are there, but two of them are still close to me. They're still friends, and
Nice.
one has lost touch. But you know, two of them, I kind of, you know, once in a while, if we have kind of, we have to
Yeah.
meet, we do meet. But yes, you know, we became very thick those days because
Yeah.
it was like
Right.
constantly wherever there's Shaker, most of the time these guys are there with
They're
me.
there with her.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
So for sure we became very close, and that's why you see the chemistry. That's why you see
That's
the
true.
magic between us,
Yeah.
because you know, and also the fact and advantage I had was all the other three were genuinely good actors. So
Yeah.
I did not have to, you know, wait for the reactions that मैं ऐसे बोला तू बोलना यार तू react करना यार, you know. So, so they were ready, you know. See, because
Yeah.
I think what a lot of actors, they don't understand much, which I learned through my hard college days, that
Yeah.
acting is not about speaking, about talking, about saying your dialogues. Acting is about reacting.
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
can react, you can act. If you can't
Yes.
react, you cannot act.
Wow. Yeah.
There is a scene, hopefully we have the time to look at, in Kabhi Ha Kabhi Na, where you sit down with Shah Rukh Khan, and it is the most fast-paced back and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
forth
Back and
thing.
forth.
And I mean, I on the one hand hope you had the script in advance because you said they were
Yeah.
giving it to you on the day.
Yeah.
But that scene hinges so much on just energy and response. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure that's probably the most exciting kind of scene for you.
Yeah, very much. In Kabhi Ha Kabhi Na, I remember that scene. We spent the whole day on just one scene. It was one of those, you know, moments where Kundan, the director, who's been a genius all along when he was alive, and he always, I really respected him for his other cinema also because I loved his work, and that's the reason I did Kabhi Ha Kabhi Na. It was purely Kundan. So of course, those days he was one of those guys who had made a complete script. And you know,
Okay.
when we were,
Wow.
neither did I get a full script when I was doing an Ashiki or an Ajayas or a Sadak, because most of the actors, most of the directors used to be like, अच्छा अभी ये schedule है 4 दिन बाद तो अभी इसका scene लिखो. So you know they would start
wow.
writing. So there
Yeah.
was not enough time, or you know, for us those days the actors did not have that facility which these boys have today, and today's actors have, that you know, they know how to maintain the graph, they know how to take the graph from A to D to F
Yes.
to Y to Z, whereas we had to actually think, अच्छा मैंने 3 महीने पहले वो ग्राफ कहाँ छोड़ा था.
Right. Right.
So trust me, the most ridiculous part about my whole story was that simultaneously I was doing two films which were completely contrasting. One was JEETA. Simultaneously, I was shooting Khiladi. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the
Boni,
diversity of the characters was maddening. It was maddening because, and they released also back to back, just 2 weeks difference, and they released, and they were being shot. So I used to shift from JEETA sets to Khiladi, and then from Khiladi sets to JEETA. It was madness, and that is where the whole difference of realizing that that okay, thank God that I did my training. Thank God that I was almost like a theater actor, an amateur theater though, never a professional theater, but college amateur theater, and that is what really gave me a lot of confidence to carry it. That I could carry Khiladi and I could carry JEETA. So I think that is what really changes a lot. The dynamics when you don't have scripts, you're going through every day tragedy about not knowing what's going to come tomorrow. But Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na, we were given the script, but that particular scene was a whole day job when Shah Rukh and me were like just sitting and just going on and on and on, and the director was different cuts because Kundan was very much into taking this one scene, and you have to perform the whole scene again and again. It wasn't like for him it wasn't like अच्छा ठीक है दीपक अभी मैं यहाँ से over the shoulder ले रहा हूँ तो ये dialogue करते हैं. No, you have to start from the top and you have to go to the end. So it was like a major scuffle. Those days were crazy because when you have such a scene and to go through that, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I was happy because eventually it did convince people and it did come across that genuinely Chris is really, somebody who is not going to be convinced eventually by this guy. So I think it's good. It was good. I'm happy
I love that. No, I loved it because in that film Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na, like I saw it, like both of them, I would say that you're kind of the traditional hero because Chris and Shekhar Malhotra, they're loved. They're in a music band. You're the lead. The girl, like Pooja Bedi, and then you also have like Suchitra Krishnamurthy. Both of them love Anna, love him, and you have more of Aamir Khan and Shah Rukh Khan playing the losers who are trying to compete, but very different. I think there's an innocence to Chris, but
that's exactly what was going on because Chris and Shekhar Malhotra, they are of the same culture, but I had to take away Shekhar from Chris. So also because I'm with as in me as a person, I'm not Chris and nor am I Shekhar. So particularly, this is something which I probably would like Sushant because he's an actor to be there. So what I did, Sushant, was something that I picked up one of the assistant directors. And a lot of times, because those days we were not shooting at one length and stuff like that. And there was no such. So I was a little scared of being Chris because Chris is overly sweet. He wasn't arrogant, but he was at the same time rich,
too nice,
but a nice guy. And that was not me. Okay, so so it was a situation when I picked one of the assistants, and how Chris has to stand and how Chris has to move and how Chris has to do certain things because it is very easy for when you are not the person to slip into what you are.
Of course, yeah.
It's so easy. So when you're doing that scene, I actually had one of the assistants who was only marking me, and I said, dude, you are only going to look at me because if I slip, it's going to be trouble. So you better just look at me and see that I don't do this and I don't do that. So trust me, when I was doing Divana, all that I was doing. So I actually had to replay a Rishi Kapoor in my mind, a Rajesh Khanna in my mind, and I had to just go into, but not imitate them. But at the same time, I had to get that feel that see how soothing and how pleasant they were. Because obviously Shah Rukh is on the other side doing the histrionics and he's playing to the gallery. Whereas I have to just be the reverse and I have to just be a romantic guy. So that was a very tricky part. So रुमाल लेके जाना और ऐसे करना तो कुंदन बोलता है देख देख दीपक वो सब मेरे को नहीं मालूम है तू कर वो तू कर तो कैसे करेगा वो तू कर मेरे को नहीं मालूम because he's not one of those directors who is into commercial and stuff like that. वो तेरा प्रॉब्लम है वो तू कर कैसे करेगा तू कर. So all that I used to do. So it was great fun doing that film. It was great fun.
Of course. Wow.
And I want to bring in talking about, like, I think you're selling yourself short, Shaker, because the master class in acting, we'll get to Najayaz, because I feel like unbelievable that you didn't have bound scripts then, because me and Sushant were looking at it. What a performance, but let's get to that.
Unbelievable. Yes.